security guards gripping a teenager's arms, pulling them backward. The crowd roaring. Michael Jackson mid-spin, sequined glove catching light. Then stopping. Completely. The music still pounding through speakers. His head turning toward the commotion. 80,000 people watching. Nobody breathing. And what he did next would be replayed millions of times across the world. This was supposed to be just another show. Munich, 1997. The History World Tour. Sold out? Cameras everywhere. But in 90 seconds, everything Michael Jackson had built, every choreographed step, every rehearsed moment, would be thrown away. For one person. One fan being dragged away by security doing their job. What happened in those next moments didn't just stop a concert. It revealed something about Michael Jackson that no interview, no documentary, no tabloid story could ever capture. The man behind the myth. The human behind the icon. If you want to see how one decision can define a legacy, subscribe now. Because what's coming will change how you see superstardom forever. The History World Tour was the biggest thing on the planet in 1997. Michael Jackson, at 38, was proving he could still command stages like nobody else. The shows were massive, militaristic in precision. Dancers moving in perfect sync. Pyrotechnics timed to the millisecond. Security protocols tighter than a presidential visit. Munich's Olympic Stadium that night held 80,000 people. The energy was electric. Fans had camped outside for days. Some had flown from different continents. For many, this was a once-in-a-lifetime moment. A chance to see the king of pop live. Among them was a 17-year-old girl named Sarah. She'd saved for 2 years to afford the ticket. Front row. Barrier seats. Close enough to see Michael's face. Close enough, she hoped, to be seen by him. She'd been a fan since she was 7. Thriller on repeat in her childhood home. Posters on every wall. Her room was a shrine. But it wasn't just the music. For Sarah, Michael represented something deeper. An escape. A belief that one person could make the world feel less heavy. But what she didn't know was that tonight, she wouldn't just see Michael Jackson. She would become part of his story. The show opened with scream, explosions, dancers descending from cables. The crowd was deafening. Michael appeared through smoke, already moving in ways that seemed to defy physics. Every snap, every turn, perfectly placed. Sarah screamed until her voice cracked. Tears already streaming. This was it. The moment she dreamed about. The setlist moved through hits. They don't care about us. Wanna be startin' something. Each song built on the last. The audience was one living, breathing organism. Moving together. Singing together. Then came Earth Song. The stage went dark. A single spotlight on Michael. The opening notes, haunting and slow. The crowd quieted. This was the moment. The emotional center of every show. Sarah pressed against the barrier. Hands reaching. She held a sign. Michael, you saved my life. Security noticed her immediately. Leaning too far over. Breaking protocol. One guard moved toward her. Then another. They weren't rough. Just firm. Doing their job. Step back, miss. Step back. But Sarah couldn't. Wouldn't. This was her moment. She pushed forward. The guards grabbed her arms. And 80,000 people were about to witness something no security protocol could predict. Michael was mid-verse. What about sunrise? What about rain? His eyes closed, hand on his chest. Pouring emotion into every word. Then he opened his eyes. He saw the guards. Saw Sarah. Saw her face, twisted in distress, tears streaming, still reaching for him even as she was being pulled away. The music continued. His dancers kept moving. The show marching forward. But Michael Jackson stopped. Not a pause. A full stop. Mid-lyric. His hand dropped from the microphone. The words just ended. The band kept playing. The backing track rolled on. But Michael wasn't singing anymore. He was walking. Straight toward the edge of the stage. Toward Sarah. Toward the security guards. The arena fell into a silence so thick you could hear the confusion ripple through 80,000 souls. Michael reached the stage edge. He didn't yell. Didn't wave frantically. He raised one hand. Palm out. The universal sign for stop. The guards froze. Michael gestured. Not aggressively. Gently. Come here. Bring her here. The guards hesitated. This wasn't protocol. This wasn't in the script. But this was Michael Jackson. And when Michael Jackson tells you to do something on his stage, you do it. They released Sarah's arms. Michael crouched down. Extended his hand. The gloved hand. The hand that had moonwalked across stages worldwide. The hand that had signed autographs for presidents. He was offering it to her. Sarah looked up. Eyes wide. Disbelieving. Was this real? Was Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson, reaching for her? She took his hand. Michael pulled her up. Not onto the stage. Just up. Close. Face to face. Barrier between them, but nothing else. He leaned in. Close enough that only she could hear. Nobody knows what he said. Sarah never told a soul. But whatever it was, her face changed. The panic melted. The tears kept coming, but different now. Relief. Gratitude. Overwhelming emotion. Michael reached into his jacket pocket. Pulled out a white handkerchief. Gently, with a tenderness that cameras barely captured, he wiped her tears. Then he did something nobody expected. He took off his fedora. The fedora. The one he'd worn through half the show. And placed it on her head. The crowd erupted. Not just cheering. Screaming. Crying. 80,000 people realizing they just witnessed something unrehearsed. Unscripted. Real. Michael stood. Stepped back. Gave Sarah one more look. A nod. A small smile. Then turned back to center stage. The music was still going. The dancers had kept the formation. Michael walked back into position, picked up the microphone, and without missing another beat, continued the song exactly where he'd left off. What about killing fields? Is there a time? As if nothing had happened. But everything had happened. Subscribe and comment below. Because what happened next is when this moment became legend. After the show, backstage was chaos. Managers, tour crew, security all buzzing. Nobody had ever seen Michael do that. Stop mid-performance. Break every rule. For a fan. Some were concerned. What if others try the same thing? What if it happens again? But Michael's response was simple. Calm. Then we stop again. He didn't see it as breaking protocol. He saw it as honoring why he was there in the first place. For them. The fans. The ones who had given him everything. The tour manager tried to explain the logistics. Michael, we have schedules. Timing. If you stop every show. Michael cut him off. Not rudely. Just firmly. Then we adjust the schedule. There was no argument after that. Because everyone in that room understood something fundamental about Michael Jackson. Yes, he was a perfectionist. Yes, he demanded precision. But never at the cost of humanity. Never at the expense of someone who needed him. The next night, in Frankfurt, Michael added something to the show. Before a song, he addressed the crowd directly. No script. Just from the heart. If any of you need help tonight. If you're not feeling well. If security needs to assist you. Please don't be afraid. This is a safe space. We're all family here. It became part of every show after that. A moment of acknowledgement. A promise that this wasn't just a performance. It was a gathering. A community. And the fans responded. Not by testing him. Not by trying to recreate Munich. But by feeling safer. More seen. More valued. Word spread through fan communities. Online forums lit up with stories. Michael stopped for someone at my show too. He noticed a girl fainting and made sure she got help. He's not just performing for us. He's with us. This wasn't PR. This wasn't manufactured image control. This was who Michael was when the cameras weren't specifically looking for it. When it would have been easier to stay in character. To keep the machine running smoothly. But the thing about being truly great isn't just talent. It's knowing when to break your own rules. Sarah's life transformed in ways she never anticipated. The media found her. Interviews were requested. She declined most of them. This wasn't about fame for her. It was sacred. Personal. But she did agree to one. A small documentary about fan experiences. And in it, she said something that would be quoted for years. People think Michael Jackson was untouchable. That he lived in some other reality. But that night, he was the most human person in that stadium. He saw me. Not as a fan. Not as a number. As a person who was hurting. And he stopped the world to care. The documentary aired 6 months before Michael passed. He never watched it. Or if he did, he never mentioned it. Because for Michael, that moment wasn't extraordinary. It was just what you do. What anyone should do. Years later, a journalist asked Sarah if she ever felt guilty. If stopping the show for her had been fair to the other 79,999 people. Her answer was immediate. Every single person in that arena got something more valuable that night than a perfect performance. They got to see what real humanity looks like. They got to witness kindness in action. If anything, I gave them a gift by needing help. She was right. Michael requested that Sarah be brought backstage. She came, still wearing the fedora, still in shock. They talked for 20 minutes. He signed her poster. Took photos. Gave her a hug that, by her own later account, felt like being held by someone who genuinely cared. Before she left, Michael handed her something else. A handwritten note. Folded. "Read it later," he told her. She did. On the train home. Through blurred vision and fresh tears. It said, "You don't need saving. You already have everything inside you. I just reminded you it was there. Keep shining. MJ." That note is framed in her home to this day. But the story didn't end there. Because what Michael did that night rippled far beyond one fan, one arena, one moment. The footage went viral before viral was even a term. News outlets picked it up. Michael Jackson stops concert for crying fan. The clip played on MTV, VH1, international news channels. It wasn't just entertainment news. It was human interest. Proof that even at the highest level, compassion could still break through. Other artists started doing it too. Stopping shows. Acknowledging fans in distress. Helping those being removed by security. Michael had set a precedent. A reminder that the people in the crowd weren't just numbers. They were individuals. With stories. With pain. With reasons for being there. For Sarah, life changed. Not because she became famous. She didn't seek that. But because she'd been seen. Truly seen. By someone who could have ignored her. Who had every reason to stay in character, stay unscripted. She went on to become a counselor. Working with young people struggling with depression and anxiety. And in her office, on the wall behind her desk, is that fedora. In a glass case. A reminder that one moment of human connection can alter the trajectory of a life. Michael Jackson passed away in 2009. The world mourned. Tributes poured in. But for Sarah, the grief was personal. She'd lost someone who, in 90 seconds, had shown her that she mattered. At his memorial, she was one of thousands. But she wore that fedora. And when the camera panned across the crowd, for just a moment, it caught her. Tears streaming. Hand over her heart. She was saying thank you. In the years since, Sarah has worked with over 300 young people. Teenagers struggling with depression, anxiety, thoughts they couldn't escape. And in her first session with each one, she tells them the same story. About the night she was pulled away by security. About the superstar who stopped everything. About the message in that moment. You matter. Even when you think you don't. Even when the world feels too big and you feel too small. You matter. Some of her clients don't believe her at first. A story about Michael Jackson seems too distant, too fantastical. But then she shows them the fedora. Lets them hold it. And something shifts. Because it's not about Michael Jackson being famous. It's about him being present. About him choosing, in a moment when he had every excuse to look away, to look closer instead. One of Sarah's clients, a 16-year-old boy named Marcus, held that fedora during his third session. He'd been silent for most of their time together. Barely speaking. But holding that hat, he finally said something. If Michael Jackson could stop for one person, maybe I matter too. Sarah nodded. That's exactly right. Marcus is in college now. Studying social work. He wants to do what Sarah does. Help people see their own worth. The ripple doesn't stop. Because sometimes the greatest performances aren't the ones that go according to plan. They're the ones where the plan gets thrown away. For something bigger. Something real. Michael Jackson didn't just entertain that night. He connected. He reminded 80,000 people, and millions more who watched later, that behind the spectacle, behind the legend, was a man who understood pain. Who had felt it. Who chose, when it mattered, to stop everything and say, I see you. That fedora isn't just a hat. It's a symbol. Of the night a superstar chose humanity over the show. Of the moment protocol meant nothing compared to a person. And it's a reminder that the greatest thing any of us can do, no matter how big the stage, is to stop. Look someone in the eye. And say, you matter. Share this story if it moved you. Subscribe if you believe in the power of one moment. And comment below with your own story of a time someone stopped for you. Because that's how legacies live on. Not through awards or album sales. But through the lives they touch. One person at a time.